All right, let's break down James Clear's incredible book, Atomic Habits, into a simple system you can use to get 1% better starting today. Because, real change isn't about those huge life-altering moments. Nope. It's about something much smaller and way, way more powerful. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll get into the surprising math behind making tiny changes. Then, we'll figure out why our best intentions almost always seem to fail. After that, we'll unpack the 4 laws for both building good habits and breaking bad ones. Finally, we'll hit the real secret to making it all stick, your identity, and I'll give you a concrete first step to take. So let's start with a question I think every single one of us has asked. You decide you're going to change. You're motivated, you've got a goal, you start off strong. And then, what happens? A few weeks later, you're right back where you started. Why does that cycle feel so unbreakable? Well, the answer starts with a number that honestly, it almost feels fake. What if I told you that you could be nearly 38 times better at something in just 1 year? I know, it sounds like a crazy exaggeration, but it's the simple, powerful math behind Atomic Habits. And this quote from James Clear just nails the core idea. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Think about that. Just like money in a bank account, the effects of your habits multiply day after day. It starts off slow, but eventually it builds into this incredible blaze. And that brings us to the first big secret: compounding. The entire philosophy of this book rests on this one simple idea. Forget about massive transformations. Just focus on tiny, almost unnoticeable improvements. I mean, just look at this. The power of compounding is staggering when you see it laid out. If you get just 1% better each day for a year, you end up almost 38 times better. But look at the flip side. If you get 1% worse each day, you basically decline to 0. Your daily choices aren't just adding up. They are compounding for or against you. Okay, so this sounds amazing, right? Just be 1% better. Easy. But if it's that simple, why is it so incredibly hard? Let's talk about the hidden force that's working against all of us. We fail because we expect our progress to be a straight line, but in reality, it works more like this thing called the plateau of latent potential. Think about an ice cube sitting in a room at 25 degrees. You slowly raise the temperature, 27, 30, 31. Nothing seems to be happening. But then you hit 32 degrees and bam, a breakthrough. All that work wasn't wasted. It was just being stored. Most of us quit at 31 degrees, right before we get to see the change. Now, the second reason we fail, and this is a big one, is that we are focused on the wrong thing. We're obsessed with goals, but we should be obsessed with systems. See, a goal is the result you want, like running a marathon. A system is the process that gets you there, like your training schedule. Here's the kicker. Winners and losers often have the exact same goals. It's their systems that make all the difference. This might just be the most powerful line in the entire book. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Your goals can give you direction, sure, but it's your systems that actually get you there. So if systems are the answer, how in the world do we build them? Well, this brings us to the real, actionable heart of the book, the 4 laws of behavior change. This is your playbook. It turns out every single habit, good or bad, follows this exact same 4-step loop. There's a cue, then a craving, a response, and finally a reward. To build a good habit, all we have to do is hack this loop. We make the cue obvious, the craving attractive, the response easy, and the reward satisfying. Let's dive into law number 1, make it obvious. And here's a secret for you, willpower. It's kind of a myth. People who seem disciplined aren't heroes. They're just smarter about designing their environments. The trick is to set up your world so that good habits are the easy, obvious choice. And this is perfectly illustrated by an amazing real-world example from the Japanese railway system. They use a method called pointing and calling. Operators literally point at signals and call out their status aloud. This simple act makes the important cues impossible to miss, and it's been shown to reduce errors by a whopping 85%. It makes the unconscious conscious. Moving on to law 2, make it attractive. Every habit is driven by a craving to change how we feel. So we can make our habits way more appealing by linking them with positive feelings. It's about a simple reframe in your mind. You don't have to go for a run. You get to build endurance and clear your head. Next up, Law 3, make it easy. Okay, this is a game changer. Our brains are wired to save energy, which means we naturally follow the law of least effort. So if you want to have it to stick, you have to reduce the friction. Make it as effortless as possible. And the perfect tool for this is the 2-minute rule. The idea is to scale down any new habit until it takes less than 2 minutes to do. So run a marathon becomes put on my running shoes. Read 30 books this year becomes read 1 page. Look, the point isn't to get a huge result in 2 minutes. The point is to master the art of just showing up. Once that's automatic, you can build from there. And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, Law 4, make it satisfying. Here's the thing about our brains. They love immediate gratification. The problem is the rewards for good habits, like getting in shape, are often way off in the future. So the key is to give yourself an immediate reward, because the cardinal rule is this: what is immediately rewarded gets repeated. So that's how we build good habits. But what about getting rid of the bad ones? Well, the beauty of this whole system is that we just flip it on its head. To break a bad habit, you just invert every single law. Instead of obvious, you make it invisible. Instead of attractive, you make it unattractive. Instead of easy, you make it difficult. And instead of satisfying, you make it really unsatisfying. So what does this actually look like? Well, it's pretty straightforward. To make a bad habit invisible, you reduce your exposure to it, like leaving your phone in another room. To make it difficult, you add friction, like unplugging the TV after every single use. To make it unsatisfying, you get an accountability partner, which creates an immediate social cost if you slip up. Okay, we've covered all the mechanics, but now we're gonna go a level deeper, because the real secret to making these changes actually last isn't about the actions themselves, it's about something way more fundamental. And this is the absolute core of the book: identity-based habits. See, the goal isn't just to read a book, it's to become a reader. When your behavior and your identity are perfectly aligned, you're not really changing anymore. You're just acting like the person you already believe yourself to be. And this quote just nails it. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Those tiny habits matter so much because each one is a piece of evidence that helps build and reinforce your new identity. So the process is actually really simple, though that doesn't mean it's easy. Step 1, decide the type of person you want to be. Step 2, prove it to yourself with small, consistent wins. Look, all of this theory is great, but it's totally useless if you don't do anything with it. So let's talk about how you can apply this system right now, today. So here's your homework. I want you to focus on 3 powerful tactics. First, habit stacking. That's where you link a new habit to one you already do. Like, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. Second, use that 2-minute rule we talked about. And third, and this one is so important, adopt the never miss twice rule. So, what's this never miss twice rule? Honestly, it's a lifesaver. It's built on the idea that, hey, anyone can have a bad day and miss a habit. That's okay. The difference is getting back on track immediately. You might miss 1 workout, but you never miss 2 in a row. Because missing once, that's an accident. Missing twice, that's the start of a new bad habit. And really, that's what this all boils down to. You don't need some massive, heroic transformation. You just need to find one small way to get 1% better today. So, go get started.